Oh, welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. You're watching WION The World this month, and this is Speed News. Let's begin. The U.S. Coast Guard is pursuing an oil tanker in international waters near Venezuela. This would be the second such operation this weekend and the third in less than 2 weeks if successful. A U.S. official confirmed the U.S. Coast Guard pursued an oil tanker in international waters near Venezuela, and British Maritime Risk Management Group Vanguard, along with a U.S. maritime security source, identified the vessel as Bella 1. The vessel tracking data showed the most recent location of the tanker at the Caribbean Sea on December 17th. U.S. and Ukrainian envoys issued a joint statement on Sunday describing 3 days of meeting on ending Russia's war in Ukraine as productive and constructive, without reporting any breakthrough. U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff wrote on X that the talks between American, European, and Ukrainian officials over the last 3 days were productive and constructive. When asked about how the talks had been proceeding, Russian President Vladimir Putin's Special Envoy Kirill Dmitriev said, "Everything is good." A photo of President Donald Trump that had been removed from the cache of Jeffrey Epstein files released by the Department of Justice was restored on Sunday. The photo showed a desk with an open drawer containing a photo of Trump with various women was flagged by the Southern District of New York for review to protect potential victims. The Justice Department said on X that after the review, it was determined that there is no evidence that any Epstein victims are depicted in the photograph, and it has been reposted without any alteration or redaction. Bangladesh police on Sunday said they have no specific information on the whereabouts of the prime suspect in the killing of prominent youth leader Sharif Osman Hadi. Addressing an emergency press conference at the Ministry of Home Affairs, Additional Inspector General of Police said law enforcement agencies are actively trying to locate Fezul Karim Masood, identified as the gunman in the shooting. The remarks came a day after Hadi's Inqilab Munch party issued a 24-hour ultimatum to the interim government on Saturday. Hadi's party demanded visible progress in the arrest of those responsible for his killing. Following last week's violence in Bangladesh, ousted Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has sounded alarm over violence and radicalization in the country. Taking on the interim government, Hasina said the current disorder in the country will destabilize Dhaka's relations with other nations. In an email interview with news agency ANI, Hasina pointed to the rise of radical Islamist forces in Bangladesh and slammed the Yunus government for lifting the ban on Jamaat-e-Islami. U.S. military assets were seen operating in Puerto Rico on Sunday as Washington's buildup in the Caribbean continues, with a U.S. Navy replenishment oiler stationed at port and a military aircraft active at airport in Ponce. The U.S. Navy replenishment oiler uses Kanawha. USNS Kanawha was docked at the Port of Americas on Puerto Rico's southern coast, with Navy personnel visible aboard the vessel. Russian President Vladimir Putin announced a new trade deal between the Eurasian Economic Union and Indonesia as he chaired a meeting of the group in St. Petersburg. Established in 2014, the bloc includes Belarus, Kazakhstan, and Kyrgyzstan, along with Russia and Armenia, and encourages the free movement of goods and services. The family of Ran Gvili, families of released hostages, and Israelis lit the 8th candle of Hanukkah in Hostage Square, Tel Aviv. The family of Gvili and Israelis call for the return of the remains of Gvili. Of the 251 people taken hostage during Hamas's unprecedented October 7, 2023 attack that sparked the war in Gaza, all have been handed over except for the remains of Israeli Ran Gvili. Thousands of people gathered in the Serbian city of Novi Pazar to protest in support of students and professors at the city's university. Demonstrators said dozens of professors have lost jobs and some students were not able to enroll at the university after taking part in nationwide protests over the past year against the government. Activists marched in Karachi, demanding environmental justice and calling on the government to stop construction projects they say damage the environment. Protesters gathered at the historical Fred Hall Park, where theater performances, music and dance were used to convey a message of combating climate change. During the rally, demonstrators called for an end to the government programs, including coal projects, constructions on riverbed, sea reclamation, and coastal projects. And today, the national capital experienced hazardous air quality with a thick layer of smog blanketing much of the city, significantly reducing visibility. The deteriorating air quality prompted the Commission for Air Quality Management to implement all measures under Stage 4 of the Greater Response Action Plan across Delhi NCR. Now, Palestinians in Gaza are slowly bringing back Christmas celebrations after more than 2 years of war. The Holy Family Church in Gaza City gathered this week to decorate the church. The ceasefire agreement backed by President Donald Trump took effect between Israel and Hamas in October, and the Gaza peace plan will enter into the second phase after the Islamic group hands over the body of the last remaining deceased hostage. Santa Claus arrived by boat to a riverside community in the Amazonas state, spreading holiday cheer among parents and children. Dressed as Santa, Jorge Alberto distributed gifts in an annual act of solidarity during the Christmas season. The initiative, operational since 1998, aims to bring Christmas cheer to secluded riverside communities. Christmas from 3 villages in northwestern Syria lit a Christmas tree at a church in Kunaya. This as they celebrated for the first time since the fall of Assad's regime. Since taking power, Syria's new leaders have sought to break from their radical Islamist past and present a more moderate image. Switzerland may consider tougher steps to protect children from social media risks, including a possible ban for young users. Interior Minister Elisabeth Baum-Schneider said Switzerland should study measures similar to Australia's ban on social media for under 16. She said authorities must examine options such as limiting children's access to social media, curbing harmful content, and addressing algorithms that target young users. Baum-Schneider also said social media platforms must take responsibility for what children and teenagers consume online. Waymo has temporarily suspended its robo-taxi service in San Francisco after a widespread power blackout left many vehicles stalled on city streets. Images and videos on social media showed Waymo cars stopped at roads and intersections, causing traffic disruptions. The company said it halted ride-hailing services due to the outage and is working with city officials to assess infrastructure stability. The blackout was linked to a fire at a Pacific Gas and Electric substation affecting around 120,000 customers. Asian share markets climbed on Monday, tracking tech-led gains on Wall Street. As thin holiday trading pushed risk appetite higher, investors are awaiting delayed U.S. data expected to show strong third quarter growth of about 3.2%, held by a drop in imports. Still, caution lingers. Bank of America warns investor sentiment is at extreme bullish levels, often followed by pullbacks. For now, futures point higher with S&P 500 and Nasdaq futures edging up. In Asia, Japan's Nikkei jumped 1.5%, boosted by a sharply weaker yen, which hit record lows against the euro and Swiss franc, despite the Bank of Japan lifting rates to a 30-year high of 0.75%. Oil prices climbed in early Asian trade, after the U.S. intercepted a Venezuelan oil tanker over the weekend. Escalating enforcement of sanctions, crude rose about 0.7% above $60 a barrel. The U.S. Coast Guard is also pursuing another tanker near Venezuelan waters, marking a third operation in under 2 weeks. Geopolitical risks are offsetting concerns about global oversupply, even as hopes fade for a near-term peace deal between Russia and Ukraine. China left its benchmark loan prime rates unchanged for a seventh straight month. In line with expectations, the one-year LPR stayed at 3.0%, while the five-year rate remained 3.5%, signaling policymakers are not rushing to ease further. The steady stance suggests confidence that the economy is on track to meet this year's growth target, even as officials adopt a cross-cyclical approach to smooth volatility. However, recent data showed slowing factory output, softer retail sales, and weak household borrowing as a prolonged property downturn weighs on confidence. The yen remained near a record low against the euro on Monday after the Bank of Japan's cautious stance following a rate hike on Friday. Governor Kazuo Ueda raised the policy rate to 0.75%, a 30-year high, but his cautious comments on future hikes disappointed markets, sending the yen down 1.3% versus the euro and 1.4% against the U.S. dollar. Japan's top currency diplomat warned about sharp exchange rate moves, but this had little immediate impact. Meanwhile, Japan's government bond yield surged as investors sold off bonds, expecting more tightening. The OC also strengthened as rate differentials with Japan widened. The Indian cinematic masterpiece Dhurandhar continues its relentless run at the box office, reaching a worldwide collection of 812 crore, that is approximately $97 million in just 16 days. Directed by Aditya Dhar and starring Ranveer Singh, Akshay Khanna, Sanjay Dutt, and R. Madhavan, the film has now become the Singh's highest-grossing career release. It is currently the 9th highest-grossing Bollywood film of all time and is on track to enter the elite 1,000 crore club by the end of its theatrical run. The entertainment community is mourning the loss of actor James Ransone, who passed away at the age of 46. Best known for his haunting portrayal of Ziggy Sobotka in The Wire, Ransone was a beloved figure in independent and prestige television. The Los Angeles Medical Examiner confirmed his death occurred. Tributes have poured in from former co-stars who praised his undeniable talent.